Here's a question for you. How long is too long for a story? Some story arcs take years, some take 3 pages and they're done. So it's not like there's an exact length that works, but I started thinking about it because we've now been in the Jonathan Hickman's X-Men run now for a couple of years, right? So it's become almost insufferable with the Krakoa story. It started off with a bang, but now it's turned into it's a slog to read through this, and it seems to just be going on forever without any sort of end in sight, without any sort of excitement coming up. So I don't really know the answer of how long a story is when it's gone too long. I know that the Hickman run's definitely there, but I started thinking about it, and what are some of the warning signs that you may want to wrap up a story before it gets too long? And there's a few things. Number one is when you get to a point where you've written a story and you've forgotten to close out on things that you presented as being very important, being vital to the story itself, and then you just don't ever address them again. One of the things that actually drives me nuts is in Larry Hama's final run of Wolverine, there was this mystery box that was built up. It was on the cover, and basically the box said, "This is the most important thing that's ever happened to Wolverine." And for like 5 issues, they kept presenting this thing as like some sort of symbol, some sort of secret weapon, whatever it was. I mean, he fought tooth and nail over it with some people. People were telling him, "This is the most important thing that you've ever possessed." People would open up the box and be wowed by it, but they never revealed what it was because there was a crossover that happened after that, and they just kind of forgot about it. They drug that story on for like 3 or 4 issues, and then kept presenting it here and there for the next, 5 or 6 issues, but then they just didn't address it. So that's something that kind of is a warning sign, right? The other thing is what I call repeating story arcs, where basically there's a pattern that happens within the arc itself. And a good example of this is like the Walking Dead TV show, where if you really look at it, it's a bunch of people, they find a place, they make it their home, then they run into some sort of bad guy, there's a battle, the home gets run over or destroyed, they need to find a new place, so they go find a new place, a major character dies, they establish a home, they run into a bad guy, they get a battle, they have to find a new place, major character dies, they find a place, establish a home, bad guy, battle, find a new place, etc., etc., etc. It kind of keeps going on and on and on. At that point, the repeating story arcs, even though it's still entertaining within that show, it gets a little old. Another warning sign, when you have no end in sight. When you've basically written yourself into a corner. I think that's where the Hickman X-Men, and I know Jonathan Hickman's not really that involved with it anymore, but I think that's where they're at. I mean, the X-Men can't die. So are the stakes. Nothing matters. When stakes don't matter or nothing sticks, when nobody's staying dead, everything just kind of resets and there's no growth. It becomes the worst thing you can do in a story, which is being boring and predictable. Another thing I would say, a story is too long when you have literally built too many plot lines to resolve. Because the thing is, every time you introduce a new plot line, a new mystery, it's exciting. People go, "Oh, this is neat." But at a certain point, there's a need for resolution. And so when you never really complete the stories, it becomes pretty pointless. Because now all you've done is introduce these little teasers, but never resolve them. So after a while, it becomes another sort of boring because the expectation is you just introduce things without actually telling an arc with it. And you can replace plot lines with characters. If you have too many characters you introduce but never do anything with them, or different challenges, you have so many challenges come. Basically, whenever you have too much things going on but you never resolve them, never come an end, never give them a point, that's when you've got too many things within the story and you got to start resolving them. And finally, probably the biggest thing is, a story's gone too long when the point of the story is lost. What was the point of the Hickman run? The point was that it was this kind of stand, this reset where mutant kind was finally going to do things right. And there was going to be, essentially a battle between humanity and mutant kind. And then mutant kind was gonna show their strength and take over. And yeah, I get to that point, but it went from that into basically just a bunch of people milling around. People just having boring conversations with essentially interchangeable personalities, right? Anyhow, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours.